Hello, Samurai. How you doing, man?
Um, I'm all right, thanks. How are you too?
Yeah, good, man. Good. It's good to have you back on. Um,
Yeah, no, no problem.
for people at home watching who don't know who you are, which they should know who you are, is Sam Creasy. You've got an upcoming fight this week in Rome.
That's right.
How's camp been, and have you made any adjustments from your last camp to this camp? I know you actually had an injury in your last fight leading up to it. So, what's training camp been like this time?
Somewhat the same, if you like. I've got a special injury that I shall keep hidden. That has made training somewhat difficult at times. But we got the work done, which is exactly what we need to do every camp. I don't really change very many things, fight to fight, really. I just tick off my boxes. So I make sure I'm wrestling, I make sure I'm grappling, make sure I'm striking, putting it all together in my sparring sessions, and then trying to get a little extra work with some pad men occasionally. Um, I'll have a chat with coaches. I won't ask them specifically what to do with this guy, but just what can I do to improve myself, and they'll give me some cues, and we'll kind of go from there. But yeah, camp has been relatively relatively comfortable, um, with a couple of highs and lows.
Do you ever have a smooth camp though? Like, has there ever been a time where you're fighting and everything's gone perfect according to plan?
No, no. I don't think. I mean, it happened even less as an amateur because I was training so much. Um, I didn't really have any downtime. It was, Monday to Friday, solidly in the gym, and then Saturday, if I got a fight coming up, I'm going to be fighting. No kind of like time off particularly, especially in my early fights and that. And so, you get a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there, some little niggles here and there, and they add up eventually. But it's part and parcel of the game. You
Yeah,
know, I would probably never have had a fight if if I didn't go in.
yeah, yeah.
That's 100%.
um, Obviously you're fighting Pagliariccio,
Who knows, man?
Tanio. I'll call
It's
him
not
by his
even
first
hard to.
name. I should have gone first name, Tanio.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, you're
That's
fighting
all I've been
Tan.
doing.
You're fighting Tanio. Do you know much about him? Do you really look too much into your opponents, or do you just sort of focus on yourself when you're going there?
Uh, I, I've always generally focused on myself. Um, Back in the day, starting out my pro career, I probably did focus on other opponents maybe a little too much, and spent camps worrying about things they're going to do rather than things that I'm going to do. Um, he's good. He's well rounded. And I know he trains. I know he's an Italian. His camp is in Italy, but I know he goes to SBG quite a lot. So he'll have some good cues from the coaches over there. They'll be telling him how to negate my style and what advantages he's got, what disadvantages I've got, etc. But yeah, it's a good fight. It's a good fight on paper. He's no slouch. He likes a guillotine as well, and he's nice and long, similar range to me. I think he's a little bit more kick heavy, and I'm perhaps a little bit more favouring the hands. But, it'll be interesting.
Do you like traveling over to different countries to fight? Like, 'cause your last fight was in Rome. This fight's in Rome. It looks like you're one of the main faces on the Rome bill now.
Maybe I can become that way, and they can fly me out a little bit more often. But it has just happened that these two fights have ended up, two young, hungry Italians, um, who want to take my scalp, and that's just the way it's ended up this year. There are other fights I possibly like as well, but uh, I'm not really too fussed where I fight now.
Mm.
I mean, it was nice fighting in London a lot. Feels like home almost. But I've always liked going into, the enemy's backyard, if you like, and you know, going and taking it to them.
Does it feel a bit nostalgic when you're in Rome? It's like that's where the gladiators would have been. That's where it all would have been going on back in the day. And you are the modern day gladiators. Back in them times, you would have been leading an army into battle.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I dream of fighting in the Colosseum or something similar one day. I couldn't even imagine how that would feel, but that it does feel almost like this is the battleground, and we're going to war sort of thing.
Because and it's picking up in Italy as well, MMA. It
Mm.
feels like it's getting really big over there. There's a lot of Italian fighters now in the UFC as well, so it feels like it's quite a big breeding ground for mixed martial arts.
Yeah, they've got quite a few gyms popping up here and there over Italy now, and the level's good. Then there's no slouches there. You've seen them come over into Cage Warriors and build their own reputations and that. And the scene is looking really good, really strong.
So with a win this weekend, hopefully, if everything goes your way, would you be looking to get the Saj fight back? Is that a fight you'd want coming up in future? Are you looking to just, or is it just whoever has the title? That's sort of where you want to get to.
Uh, quite honestly, I haven't even looked that far ahead, to be honest. I'm going to take this one fight at a time, see where I'm at after this fight. I mean, I'm always, unfortunately, kind of at the top end of the division, so I'm always in the question about a title shot, if you like. But it's something I'm not really too fussed about at the moment. I'm just gonna, I've got Tanio on Saturday night. We're gonna have a tear up. We're gonna see how that goes, and then then I'll go back to the table, see what's ahead of me.
See, like where you're at in your career, do you feel like there's a bit of a target on your back? Obviously, you've held the championships. You're one of the older fighters in the division, more experienced. So the young guys are sort of like, if they take you out, they could be getting a title shot next. Do you feel does pressure come with that?
Yes and no. Um, I've I've been at the top for a long time. Um, I should be in the UFC if really with my skill level and that, but I've made mistakes on the way, and they've cost me. But I know I've got a target on my back. I should always have a target on my back. If I don't, then I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm good, and my level is at a world class level, and these guys should want to fight me. Well, they should also want to fight the champion as well. And I feel like I'm a difficult proposition for a lot of guys to deal with because I don't really have a weakness apart from perhaps my complacency, if you like. As a fight, I'm difficult to deal with. Like I'm well rounded, and that's not something where you can go, okay, we're going to pick them apart like this, perhaps. Um, so yeah, I'm used to the target on my back, and it's been there for a long time now.
Do you have a part of your game that you like the most? Like, is it your wrestling? Is it your BJJ striking? Like, what's the part of your game that you sort of rely on the most?
I wouldn't say anything really. Um, my versatility is probably like the strongest point that I have. I'm average at everything, but when I put it all together, I'm very good at putting it together, or I believe I'm better than anybody else when I can put it all together. I just think that becomes a problem for a lot of guys because they maybe have one area where they're really excelling, and if they can't, dominate me in that place straight away, then they're a bit stuck.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. I obviously what does your schedule look like this week? You're going to be traveling over to Rome. Give me like a little rundown of the people at home watching. Like, what's the sort of Cage Warriors style?
So they would have flown me out earlier, but it's my daughter's birthday party on Saturday night whilst I'm fighting. So I said, fly me out as late as possible. I'm going to try and spend as much of this week with her as
Yeah,
possible,
yeah.
and then get me back as quick as you can on Sunday morning.
Try
Uh,
catch any of the parties, any of the party left.
well, what we'll probably do is we go and fight, and that we get the coach back to the hotel, pack up our stuff, and then go down see everybody else. They can all party through the night and that, and we'll just hop on a plane the next morning. Then we got to be there at 5 a.m. anyway. So
Yeah, yeah. Get out there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is
But
there any?
fun for me. I'm not going to do much training. I'll move around a little bit, just monitor my weight, mm, and then get ready for the weight cut.
Yeah, is it a brutal weight cut for you still? Do you ever think about that? Do you ever think you'd want to go into the weight above just so you don't have to drain yourself anymore, or is it are you kind of sitting around that weight anyway?
I'm in and around a funny spot. My weight doesn't really change most of the year round. My body shape might. I might carry more fat. I might carry less fat. But whilst I'm in like the middle of a camp, I'm always looking like if I make bantamweight, I've got like 2, 3 kilos to cut, and when you get squished by a big bantamweight, yeah, that's a whole different feeling. So I feel this is my spot still. That may change perhaps towards the latter end of my career, but I'm happy, and I'm fairly comfortable with this cut anyway. So it is never easy, but it's just part of the process.
How's mental preparation for you? Like we see Volk over the weekend. He sort of started talking about his mental well-being when he doesn't have a fight. Someone else mentioned it not that long ago as well. So for you, what's it like mentality-wise with training and being in camp?
Yeah, I mean, I completely understand what he's saying. Like when you put yourself into this, it's part of your routine, if you like, that you have a fight. Okay, what's next? That's what you're looking for. Your next thing, your next goal, your next target, if you like. So you spend, I don't know, however long he spends in camp, your 12 weeks or that, and then you're looking, what's my next aim, or what's my next goal that I need to achieve here? I think it's harder for him being like he's been at the top and dominating everybody at featherweight. That challenges are you know uh, not that many for him. So when an opportunity comes for the lightweight title, of course he's going to grasp it with both hands because he's probably feeling a little bit lost at times. And I feel that myself. Like when I'm not in a camp, when I was injured earlier this year, I was just a bit stuck with what am I supposed to be doing here? Like I can help other people, and I enjoy that as well. Um, but it's something that as a fighter, I think you've got to be aware of as you're getting towards like what's going to happen after your career. What are you going to do afterwards? Because there is always going to be that question of like, okay, what's my next target?
So do you ever think about that and try to plan it out now? Like sort of, I know you do a lot of coaching with other fighters. You do classes. So is that the
Yeah.
route you think you will end up taking when you're out? Like, are you going to be one of them people that have to have still a part of mixed martial arts?
Now I just lie to myself. No, no. Yeah, I'm gonna be. I'll be training until the day I die. I would imagine. Um, Getting me out of a competition or that competitive mindset is going to be difficult, and it will come from family, from friends, from loved ones who will tell me when it's time to step away. But the problem is, I'm still good at the minute, and I'm still like dealing with a lot of the guys who are right really top level sparring partners and that, and you know that's a good thing for me. But I just need to be aware when it's time to say bye bye. I'm gonna have to float into a different avenue and put my energy into that.
Do you think you will know? Like as a martial
Mm.
artist, do you think you will know, or do you think or someone will tell you?
You'll know. You might lie to yourself a lot though, and you might talk yourself out of it a lot. If your time's up, it is up. You kind of know it is, or you don't. And maybe you need somebody else to give you that little shove in that direction because your brain is always going to be telling you, "Go on, just one more, just one more." And yeah, you've seen fighters come back and when a pay packet is really good and get smushed, and
Mm.
it's not nice to see, you know.
because you got like a double-ended sword as well, because then you see like a guy like Glover who goes and wins a world title at 40, 41, where some people might have just packed it in at 37 and thought I might not ever get to reach my goal, sort of thing.
Hmm.
And did you?
That's it.
Yeah, no, go ahead, mate.
No, that's it. That's it. I think like people progress at different rates and that, and people's also, it's how much do you love it? How much is it still part of you as well? Because if you're just in it to be in it because you don't know what else to do, you ain't going to survive for too long, and things are going to go pear shaped pretty quick. But if your heart is still in it, if you're still looking after your body, you're still looking after your, you know, your brain and that, and you're keeping current with the new wave who are coming through, and you're training these new guys and that, you'll know when it's time to take a step back, when they'll go flying past you.
Yeah. And you got a lot to look forward to anyway, because your brother's now fighting with Cage Warriors. He's signed to Cage Warriors. He's got a fight coming up next month.
Yeah.
How has his preparation been? How excited are you to sort of like see his journey grow?
Oh yeah, I'm always excited to see my brother fight. To be quite honest, like I've been telling people about him for years. That most uh, most of the UK scene just, they don't know yet. They don't know how good he is.
Yeah.
Uh, wherever he's been, wherever he's been, people come up to me afterwards and they're like, "Fucking hell, your brother's sick. He hits so hard." All of this stuff. I'm like, yep, yep. I've been having to be dealing with that for years, mate. I'm so glad you stepped into the fore to take a couple of shots as well. You know, I'm looking forward to seeing him take the title and move on to the UFC as well.
Is he a
You know,
featherweight as well?
oh, yeah, flyweight,
He's a
flyweight.
flyweight.
But yeah. So same weight as me, same weight
So
as
you
me.
are just you. So you got a sparring partner there. He's got a
Mm.
sparring partner there. For like, it's just kind of perfect, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We're very lucky in that sense, and we can go like very high intensity without letting ego get involved. Really, that's we're way past that point, and it just helps us to push each other to be better. You know, like he needs, maybe he needs a really hard wrestling session, and I don't want to give it to him, but I'm gonna give it to him way harder than anybody else can, because I'm gonna push him to the places that I know he needs to get to make sure he's ready for a fight.
Yeah. And obviously touching on the UFC as well.
Mm.
Obviously, hopefully he gets there. Is that
Mm.
somewhere I know is somewhere you still want to be and you want to get to?
Yeah.
Is it is it still is it a frustrating situation? I know you put your name forward for a late replacement in France as well. You which I was hoping you got as well. Um, but is it like what do you think you're gonna have to do to get there, or do it is what it is at this point?
I mean, it is what it is anyway. I should have been there a long time, long time ago, really. But you know, those are my own mistakes. Um, it'll be whatever it's going to be. That my goals don't change. That's where I want to be. You know, I keep on fighting. I keep on taking out these people in front of me, and you know, if I'm meant to be there, that's where I'll be.
Yeah. Hopefully, would you entertain anything like if they done a flyweight sort of when you go into the house and stuff like that, Ultimate
Oh, tough.
Fighter.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Would you
yeah.
entertain
Absolutely.
something like that? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Of course, of course. It's another opportunity to get my foot in the door. Um, but that's where my aspirations lie. I want to be in the UFC, and I want to fight the best guys in the world. Um, I am capable. I've just got to get myself in there.
Yeah, because when I was obviously I was looking at topology,
Mm,
tapology, and you're ranked 61 in the world.
mm,
And the person who's ranked 59 in the world is in the UFC. So
mhm.
it's sort of like what we got to do here? What we got to do here to get the boy Sam Creasy in there? Everyone go out there and tweet Dana White
Yeah,
right now.
that's it. That's it.
Have you had any close encounters to getting in? Like, has there been conversations with any of the guys there? Like, or is it just been nothing?
I spoke to like a scout previously, and but I know they've been interested from some of my performances. The problem is I haven't then lived up to expectation on my next performance, or when I've been close, I've let a chance disappear, and that can only be put upon myself. So those decisions that I've made in the moment have been what cost me, and I know I should be there, and I would be winning when if I was in the UFC right now.
Yeah, and that's why we love you here at the pod, and that's why the people love you, because everything with you is just all self accountability. It's me, sort of nothing. You are the definition of a samurai.
Well, I do think you just got to own it. You got to own it. Anything, whether you lose at something or you fail at something, you have to go out and own it straight away. Don't. That's no negative on you. That's taking ownership of that so that you can be better, so that you can go and improve. And as a human, as a martial artist, as a fighter, as an athlete, I need to own this, not hide from this. You know.
And talking on your coaching as well. Obviously, you went over to Madrid with Ibra and you coached
Oh
him.
yeah,
We
yeah,
had him on last a couple of weeks ago. What was that experience like for him fighting in Madrid?
yeah. It was cool, a little different. I didn't speak any other language. I was very loud though in the corner. Probably made a little bit too much noise, perhaps. Got dragged back down by the runners quite a few times. But it was an experience. I think it was in a bullfighting ring as well, and
Yeah, it looked really professional. That's what I was saying to him. It looked
yeah,
like a really big event for how small the sort of company is.
yeah. It was really big. There were a lot of people there, big crowd, lots of production went in behind it, and I'm always happy to go and corner Ibra. I see how much work he puts in all around the world, wherever he is.
Yeah.
And yeah, the man's a machine, and I know I see how much he wants it, and I'm there to give him my time. But yeah, that was an experience in itself. Um, in the middle of camp wasn't ideal, which is why I got my flights. Like again, same thing. Like get me out there, get me back straight
Yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, it was an experience.
What was his performance like? I know it
I
was a
thought
close fight, and a lot of people thought he actually won the fight. So, what was your perspective on it?
I thought we'd won. I was ready with my phone out, ready to catch him winning. The crowd thought that he'd won. His opponent, I'm pretty sure, thought he'd won. Um, Things that went well in the fight were his low kicks, his anti wrestling, his knees in the clinch, and I was pretty confident. Apart from about a minute of the second round, I thought he'd won that fight. He's got things to work on, obviously, as always, but I was very confident he'd won. But I said to him, like, it matters not really as an amateur. All it is experience and improvement on performances each time. So whether you win or lose, I don't really care as long as you're improving in some aspect in your performance. And he has. He looked 10 times better than the last guy who entered the cage. And he'll take it on, and I expect him to come out and get another victory.
Yeah, and I know he put a lot of work in Egypt into his wrestling, his takedown defense, because he knew that was a hole in his game for them bigger boys that didn't want to strike with him. So, did you see a
Yeah,
big difference in that aspect of his fighting?
I did. I've noticed it in the gym as well. Um, there was some really good moments. There's some little things he needs to work on again, which the wrestlers in Egypt have been fantastic at improving his wrestling. His cage wrestling is that slightly different nuance that you can't get squared off, you can't get pinned against the cage for too long. Um, that was the problem, not this last fight, the one before, which he lost by decision, but he got pinned against the cage for great periods of that fight. This fight, he got pinned against the cage once, and that was where the takedown came from. So it's something we're going to work on. Something he's not going to get caught in that spot again, and I expect him not to be in that position in his next fight.
Yeah. No, hopefully he goes on to do amazing things. Did you actually catch the UFC at the weekend?
I caught a little bit of it. I didn't catch all of the fights in that, but yeah, I saw bits of it.
Did you see any of the main two?
Yeah.
What did you think of Hamzat's performance versus Usman?
it was good. I don't think you can ask for it any more from him. I mean, Usman came in last minute, but Usman is a completely different fighter to Paulo Costa as well. So for Hamzat, again, it's a change of opponent at the last minute. Perhaps it's a little bit of a harder contest, but he did what he needed to do. I was impressed. Be more impressed if he beats Usman with a full camp, but he keeps on beating these guys put in front of him.
Yeah, because he's getting quite a lot of, maybe not him personally, but there's a lot of people moaning about if he's still a hype train, if he's like every time he sort of wins, everyone's still got them questions about him, whether it be his gas tank, his striking's not that good. But for me, when I see him go and take Usman down in the first round and control him
Mm.
for the whole first round, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that's all you need to see. No one does
Mm.
that to Usman. No one
Yeah,
does that to Usman.
that's it. No, 100%. And like the thing is, it's because they want to see him as a killer, right? They want to see this ferocious animal. Okay, fighting when you get to the top level and you're fighting a former champion who's
Yeah.
only been fighting championship fights for the last however many years, you probably ain't gonna get the chance to knock him out like that. And if you do, he just as well knock you out. You know, I mean, Hamzat's his wrestling, his grappling, his strength. That is where his strengths lie. That is why he's an animal. And at times, if you give a man like that space on the ground, he's up. Yeah. So he's got to stay tight. And it can be a little bit boring at times, but that is the game that we're in.
Yeah, but for someone like yourself and for like maybe hardcore mixed martial arts fans, they will like that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like for me, I was just like, "Whoa, he's taken Usman down and controlled him." Like, yeah, to people that's boring. I'm like, that's obviously doing the small couple BJJ sessions I've done and that. When
Mm.
someone has you down, it's hard to even move, let alone having Usman down, someone who's
That's it.
notorious at wrestling everyone and being one of the best wrestlers.
That's it. That's it. I mean, that's the fans' perspective. And there are a lot of people who are on the hype train and they want to see him knock everybody out. They want to see him sub everybody, very quickly. That doesn't happen very often as you get towards the top end. You know, those gaps are not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so, the spaces where you get that choke, the spaces where you get that finish or you get that punch are gone. So it's not what everybody wants it to be.
And then what did you feel sorry for Volk at all?
I did. Like, I think that's a much better fight for him on a full camp. Obviously, he can give Islam more problems, but you just have to take your hat off to Islam. That was a lovely, lovely shot. And Mighty Mouse called it actually earlier in the week on his breakdown. He's saying he's going to the body. He's going to the body with that midsection every time. And then if you look at the last fight, he went to the body so much with that left mid. All Mighty Mouse was saying was he just have to pop it up the top and then bam, nowhere he's out cold.
And he done it straight away
Mm,
in the first
that's it.
round. Because a
Yeah,
lot of people were kept a lot of the focus before was on Volkanovski, and it was like, well, if Volk now he could dominate him now because he done so well the last time, but they were forgetting that Islam himself is gonna make adjustments for the next fight as
that's
well.
it.
Um,
That's it.
but yeah, that was a brilliant fight. I don't know. I think the card got a lot more slack than it deserved. I think.
Yeah, yeah. It did. It did. I thought it was a good card. I was impressed with a lot of fights in there. Um, and that kind of is what it is. Those fights were still really exciting, and those were top level fights. Just I would have maybe liked to see Paulo Costa
Yeah, yeah,
fight Hamzat still because I think like physically they match up very very well. Whereas Usman's coming in late notice. I don't know how heavy he is, but he looked a fair bit smaller than Hamzat. And Volk, I don't want to see him fight Islam again. I'd rather see Islam fight an actual lightweight again now, and
Yeah.
I don't know who else is in the mix next, but there should be plenty of people out there.
Yeah, 100%. Sam, is there any last points we've not touched on? Anything you want to let the world know? For anyone who hasn't seen you fight, what can they expect to see from you?
Uh, who knows? To be quite honest, who knows what is going to happen in there? I never know myself. What I will try to do is behave myself and be the most professional I can. Not enjoy the fight and fight just to win.
That's brilliant. And have you actually got your eyes on this San Diego card in December?
Oh, I'd love to. I'd love to.
That,
You know.
like, I was surprised when I see it on their thing. I was like, San Diego, the Cage Warriors are going global.
Yeah. Oh no, mate. I'd love to get myself a nice little tan before Christmas and that.
No, but thank you for doing this. Obviously, we appreciate your time, and we know you're super busy. You have everything going on this week, so thank you for coming on and doing this with me.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure.
Good luck this weekend, and I'll leave all your stuff, links, and everything down below when the video drops, so people can go ahead and watch the fight. And yeah, thank you.
Cool, man. Thank you very much. You take care now.